Okay, today's video we're going to talk about basically how many ads you need for your Google search campaigns. If you were wondering if 1 or 2 or 5 are good enough, I'm going to clarify that for you in this video. But this video won't just be about that as well though. I'm going to actually tell you how to double to triple the click-through rate on your search ads if you have just a few ads. You don't have hundreds of different unique ads like crazy old me is going to do on a campaign that I set up. And if you don't know the significance of that, just by just by increasing the click-through rate of all your search campaign ads by 2x or 1x, basically doubling the click-through rate, your cost per click will generally roughly cut in half or maybe a little bit less than half due to Google's quality score system. So respectively, this is a good way as well that I'm going to give you here to get to your break-even profitability with your ads if they're not profitable yet, or to double the profit from your ads. But I said you could double to triple the click-through rate on your ads. So you have the potential to cut your cost per click down into like 30% or whatever of the original just by following these basic instructions, which the instructions are simple, easy, even a kid could do them, but it does take some time. If you do like I do and you create good instructions on what to do, you literally could just take my instructions here, forward them on to somebody else, let them do it, and then you get the returns without all the grief and the hassle of doing it yourself. So respectively, I'll go through that, give you the strategy that I use. I'll tell you how many ads I use. I talked about hundreds. That's kind of the case, if we have hundreds of keywords, that is. And with that, I'll explain kind of how it works, why it works, and then enough for you to walk away from this video understanding the full thing and having a strategy ready to go to improve the strategy you got and understand why more ads are more critical to making a big profit or a profit at all versus just a few ads that you have in general right now, potentially. That said, most people who do Google search campaigns that I see, and I've audited hundreds and hundreds of Google search campaigns now, most people on average are doing like 5 to 10 ads for all the keywords that they're trying to advertise on, which are generally everything in their space that they could think of in their whole Google Ads account for all of the keywords they have, even when they are not using dynamic search campaigns. And just to clarify on that, what that is, dynamic search campaigns are just campaigns where you got your search campaigns on Google, which if you guys still don't know what search campaigns are, I'm talking about the text ads on Google, basically at the top of Google, okay? This all stuff applies to Bing search campaigns as well, text ads on bing.com search results. The dynamic search campaigns was an attempt to do kind of what I'm going to show you on today's video, which is Google scans your whole website and then sets up the ad for you automatically based upon what the content of each page is. So it can kind of have a unique ad for every page you're sending people to, and kind of with the keyword that you have. So I did never use those myself. There are situations where I've seen that can come in handy. One example, I had a client that was selling commercial lighting, like for shops and stuff like that, and they had 1,000+ parts in stock, and the amount of people that were searching was so vast and for so many different reasons, the algorithm kind of could do what no human could not in figuring out what to show the user. Respectively, with that said, I would be looking at trying to decode what they're doing and then learn from that, and then still have static ads myself if it were my business and I were going to be the one responsible for it long term. So I walked in, they were using those. It actually was working halfway good. The rest of the time I see people using those dynamic search ads, they work like dog crap, okay? So just a word from the wise, with that said, you know, using dynamic search ads, you don't have any ads basically. For you guys now using dynamic search ads, you have had to ask yourself, how many ads do I need? And that's why I made this video, and you know, on this particular topic itself, to clarify that answer for you guys, that ultimately all have to answer that question when you set up your campaigns. So with all that said, the key thing is with this question, the more ads you use, assuming you're doing it kind of with, well, for sure with my methodology I'm giving you here, but assuming you're doing it the right way, you know, in life, working hard does not matter shit if you don't work smart at the same time. The better your performance is going to be, so the more ads you have, though, the better your performance is going to be, assuming you're doing it smartly still. Especially when you do it the way that I do it with our campaigns, given I have millions of dollars of ad testing and configuration testing baked into the strategies we use. Running a PPC agency, you're not trying to do everything absolutely unique each time. For one, the client doesn't want that, because you're basically learning when you don't have to learn. Despite it sounding, you know, fancy, everything is going to be totally custom for you. No, you use as much as you can from the last campaign you did, or the last 10 campaigns you did for that particular campaign. And when you get into it, you can systemize and formalize certain just formulas that work the best from campaign to campaign, irrespective of it being actual two different products or two different markets. This user psychology is the same market to market, to a degree at least. So you don't have to start out from scratch. And so therefore, when you use my few go-tos here, you're going to be able to be way ahead of the game without having to do any work other than you having seen this video. So with that said, I'm going to, like I said, give you the strategies that I use to figure out how many ads I'm going to write. And with that, more so with those ads, using a lot of ads, what actually is on the ads that's going to give you the big boost in click-through rate that'll cut your cost per click in half or even less than half, like I said, is possible using these methods and just doing things in a way that can double to triple your click-through rate. So with that said, depending on how competitive the market is, I might start with this number one method listed here below and move to number two down the line. It takes a long time to do all the strategies on my channel. No sane person will do them all, but you do a few things up front. You get enough to get it profitable, and then you layer on another strategy and layer on another strategy and layer on another strategy, and eventually you've got this super sophisticated account that just churns out profit hand over fist. And your cumulative effort in terms of actual manpower to do all the data entry might have been 3,000 hours to get a campaign that produces several $1 million a year in profit, to do all the 10, 20, 30 different unique strategies that I give you on this channel. Whereas you start out real simple, it's profitable, you make a little bit, and then you use that money to reinvest in your strategy and your overall account configuration. So with that said, generally, just taking a step backwards here as well before I go forward with this ad, I want you to have some context here. In order to make money with your Google search ads, which I've said many, many times on these videos, what it all 100% comes down to, you can always make money in your market if you have a product or service that's competitive with what your competitors have. Your costs are the same to deliver that product or service. It's of similar quality, we'll just say, similar in demand. It comes down to the ad campaign and how much work you're going to put in on that ad campaign to outdo your competitors, which you only have two things to do. Higher click-through rate on your ad than 90% of the people. Higher conversion rate on your page that you're taking them to than 90% of the people. If you do those two things, you're basically guaranteed to make a profit. And not just a profit, an extremely good profit. Why? Because Google charges as much as they can for the clicks. If they charged more, they already know through their testing that people would just start dropping off in too great a numbers, then nobody would want the ad space that they have available there on Google. So, and obviously they're in charge of charging as much from their product as they can, which we all are. Okay, so with that, basically, they're on the constant lookout to have the people that are taking their ad space do a good job to serve their users, so that people want to click on ads in the future. And with that, they reward people who give their users a better experience with a lower cost per click and a higher ROI by reducing the cost per click, which is where that whole, increase your click-through rate, you'll decrease your cost per click whole thing I mentioned before comes from. So given, respectively, Google couldn't raise the price per click to a point where nobody's making money or nobody would advertise long term. They charge kind of as much as they can so that basically the top 20% makes a decent amount of money. Most of the people make maybe almost nothing, and then there's a bunch of people making nothing. As to encourage the people that are at the top to keep doing better, the people at the bottom to do better, and the people at the bottom to get out so new people can come in that try to nip at the heels of the people that are the established players there that are doing good as well, to keep the system ever improving so that the overall ads that are always there for users are as good as the market will generate, given people in each market are competing against each other to be in that top 20% that make money. So if you therefore can be in that top 20% of people in terms of the click-through rate on your ads and the conversion rate on your landing pages that you're taking people to, you will make money. Okay? So one of those things is just getting the click-through rate of your ad up, and very simply, you do what I'm mentioning here. You've already got that out of the way. Then you just got to work on the landing page, which the landing page is really about 70% of the equation. In terms of the effort and the thought you have to put into it, there's more variables. It's also trickier to do. But I've got plenty of videos on that as well. So after watching this video, if you want to go check that out, you can. The reason why I give you all that, respectively, is to let you know that going into any campaign that I'm going to set up for a client here, I know I want to be in that top 20% automatically, because that's what it takes for the campaigns to, for sure, make money. I don't want to get into it. The campaigns don't make money. The client starts chewing my ass out for that. And then I have to deal with all that BS. It's much easier for us to run our company to do what it takes that I know that 80% of the people in that market and all basic markets won't do that the user wants to see. So when I apply it, I know for sure going into it what's going to happen, which is we're going to make money. And so yes, it takes more time, but it saves me time on the administrative side with the client. So with that, every single time I make a campaign, I'm going to use, there's a name for it. It's not just me using it. Some people use it, but respectively, 95% of people aren't using it, or 90% at least, which is the SKAG or SKAG model, which is where you put your keyword that you're going to advertise. If you're advertising big red shoes as a keyword, your keyword big red shoes should be in the ad. Specifically, in the first headline, and with that first headline pinned, so that it's always at that first headline. Why? Because that general formula always works to basically double your click-through rate than having one ad for all the red shoe keywords and just trying to do it the lazy way. So just by doing that one thing, I'll be ahead of 90% of people already, and I don't have to worry about the campaigns not working. That's what I always do. So you can go ahead and do that, and probably with that one thing be ahead of everybody else. With that said, yes, you have a lot of keywords. You're going to have a lot of ads, potentially hundreds of ads now, but you can get a data entry person to help you out with that. Respectively, with that, there's some additional things that you can do to improve your numbers here as well. As far as the ads though, having an ad for every keyword works great, but it works a lot better if you have a broader, wider breadth of keywords as well. Before I move on, I should mention that as well. You can't have 10 keywords and 10 ads and have this keyword in the headline SCAG model double your click-through rate and be okay. It works great when you go and find a few hundred keywords to advertise on and get all the main variants, okay? So when you do that, when you have a few hundred keywords versus just a small handful that also most people are going to do, and you pair the ad where the keyword is in the first headline, that's where you're going to be able to beat, basically, you'll be in that top 20% every time just with that one thing being done on your account. Yes, you'll need then a few hundred ads because you have a few hundred keywords, but you get the general reason for all this now. That's for a national business not selling locally. That's basically all you need to know to be ahead of 80% of the people every time. If you're in a local business here, that will generally be the case, but I would automatically say to instead of being ahead of everybody 95% of the time, but being ahead of everybody like 99.9% of the time, and just get more out of what you're doing because it's an easy grab. I'll always automatically, no matter what campaign I work on now, if it's for a local business, I'll say the keyword in the headline, the first headline there, and I'll put in and then the name of the city. And not just the name of the main city that represents the metro, like Los Angeles. When, if we're advertising throughout the whole Los Angeles metro area, we'll set up 20 different campaigns, of which each campaign is going to target a different part of LA. Long Beach, Compton, Hollywood, whatever. Go all the ones that have the most people. Or I'll make a rule like any city within LA that has over 100,000 people, I'll set up a separate campaign for it so that's in Hollywood that needs pest control. They're going to type in rat control in Hollywood. And my ad's always going to say then rat control in Hollywood. And my ad's going to stick out like a big sore thumb. They're going to click on it almost every time, and I'm going to make a pile of money from what we're doing. Particularly as the ads get ran for a while and Google figures this out. A lot of people think that their ads should just work, what I'm telling you should work right away. The algorithm that credits you and gets you a lower cost per click needs to have a few hundred clicks on each keyword to really factor in what that ad is going to do for you. And you have to figure that out on each keyword and each ad individually. But when it figures it out, oh boy. So that would be what I'm going to do by default in a local market. In the situations where you can't fit the city name in the headline one because the keyword itself is too long, I'll put it in the city name in headline 2. And then I'll say like serving Hollywood since 1919 or whatever, so that I can have the city name still at least mostly in view, and I'll pin headline 2 so it's always showing. Respectively there, I was going to mention something here. Oh, the keyword. I also wanted just to quickly mention that if the keyword is nonsensical, if they're typing in like bugs kill Hollywood, they're looking to get exterminator services, I'll type in kill your bugs Hollywood. You don't have to have the literal keyword they type in, but get as close to it as you can so that you're not like making your ad look like it is written by a 4-year-old. And if you can use the exact way they phrase it, do it because it'll make money. But don't go to the extent that you're doing it so closely to what they typed in that your ad looks like it's not trustworthy anymore because it's written weirdly. Because people type in weird crap when they search on Google. They'll, hot sandwiches now, and they're not expecting to see an ad that says hot sandwiches now. Get a hot sandwich now will be a lot of times what we use instead. That's not a really good example, but you get the general idea. Just want to throw that general caveat in there when you do your own. But anyway, that's the main thing. That's my first mainly go-to method that I'll usually use right away. If a method to get twice the click-through rate on our ads, then having a few ads that cover all the keywords. That's almost a given every time. If the market's extremely competitive, I'll go right away to method 2. Or later on, we'll add method 2 to just layer on more profit to what we're doing. Like I said, over time, if you just keep adding more and more depth to your campaigns, you will keep making more money. It's up to you how far you want to go with it. Method number 2 is getting the headline, second headline, to be customized to what the user's typing in, so that you aren't just saying what the keyword they typed in the first headline, you're saying something about what they typed in the second headline, which the second headline is pinned as well, so that it always shows in the second spot. To give you a few examples of how this is done, so we had a person who buys junk cars, like your car's got no title, you need to sell it. So you can go to a junkyard to sell it, but there's companies that will pay you cash on the spot for it, that'll pick it up and tow it for you. Or, you know, instead of taking it to the dealership, you don't want to buy a car at the dealership, you don't want to screw with it at the dealership. There's somebody that will come anywhere you're at, pay you cash on the spot for your car. That type of business. You know, somebody said, sell my truck, St. Louis. Sell your truck, St. Louis would be like in the first headline. But then on the second headline, and by the way, just having the keyword in the headline like that, our click-through rate was about 10% right away, which is a very, very high click-through rate if you're familiar with search ads at all yet for something like that, or it's just in general. Putting number 1 voted truck buyer in the second headline got the click-through rate to go way more even yet. So what that does by having taking what they typed in and putting it in the second headline is reinforce to the user that holy shit, they really are writing a custom ad just for this, what I'm searching for. Therefore, I know they're not screwing around. This wasn't a piece of software that just spit out my keyword. They really do have something specialized just for me. And it also just gets their attention easier. And then, so we got a click-through rate almost at 20% doing that. But we had to do it differently though for each keyword, because that's not going to work for all their keywords. If they have a keyword like sell truck no title, then the second headline was, the first headline is sell your truck St. Louis, because we still had the city name in the headline. But then we would say on the second headline though, we buy your truck, no title needed. So we're reverberating that this is the right ad for you to click on. Okay, so but when we did that all across the board on all the hundreds of ads, the click-through rate went up to double again, to like basically closer to 20%. Which that's an extreme case. I'm not saying that if you do this for yourself, you're going to get 20%, but it's possible depending on what market you're in. So with that, that gives you a general idea of what could be done there, but I'm going to give you some other examples of where I did this second headline customization, so you can understand for your market. Maybe you sell products, what you could do there, and all that jazz. But I do remember what I was going to say here. For the car buyer, junk car buyer, respectively with that one, I don't want to scare you by thinking, well, Corey, I don't want to write hundreds of ads. I don't have the time, or I don't want to screw with that, even if it does make you a pile of cash. Well, I always do everything I do based upon formulas. I started out this video saying that I always try to formulate a system that generally just works so I can get most of the returns from what I'm doing with almost just a fraction of the work. Because I always also want to save time too. I'm not like a workhorse here. And so what I'll do for the junk car buyer, I'll look at all the 400 keywords, roughly speaking, and I'll break those keywords out into 20 different categories that all the keywords fit into in general. All the keywords that are related to, let's say titles will go in one group. And then you can then write your second headline and say, no title necessary in there, okay? Or in general, you get what I mean. You'll get the best results if you write a custom second headline for every keyword itself, so you can take it all the way, like what we actually did in this case, where where the keyword was sell my truck, sell my junk truck or whatever, and the second headlines, sell my truck, no title, sell my junk truck, no title. I can't remember what I said exactly before. Sell my junk truck, no title. The second headline says, sell your truck, no title necessary. Just the fact saying no title necessary wouldn't have got the pull as sell your truck, no title necessary, because that was more reflective of what they actually typed in. So you can kind of think of what that second headline is. It's kind of a reinforcement of what was said on the headline to be accurate. You searched for sell your truck, no title, so we said that on the headline to make sure we got your attention right away, that we got exactly what you want, and then we reinforced we got what you want on the second headline, saying, really, you could sell your truck with us and no title is necessary. Saying it twice hits home with the more, and it gets a much higher click-through rate as a response or as a result out of it, to where you could pretty much double your results again on top of what you could have taking that keyword and making sure it's on the headline, the first headline. So you can decide to potentially, you could only do it for a few keywords and ads to test this out. You can break it, all your keywords down to certain categories and try to make your second headline custom written by category, or you could just write a second headline custom for every keyword and get all the results. I just wanted to let you know there's options for you. Personally, if it's for my own business and I've got time, I'm going to write a custom second headline like that for every single keyword because it crushes it. For a different type of business here, we sold toner cartridges for a company. They sold the new toner cartridges and the replacement, so they call it OEM from the factory, like from HP. Or there's people who make identical replacement cartridges, but they're not from HP, but work on HP printers. Okay? On the second headline, we put only and then the price. Okay? There's also some variants we tried that were like, buy XYZ keyword only, then the price, if it would all fit. So going back to what I said before, if you could repeat what they typed in on the second headline too, it makes it more real for them. But then also having the price on there actually helps them understand without even having to click through the ad whether they're going to want it or not, given the price is a big factor for them. But it also just is something else that gets the user to want to click on your ad. So everything what we're doing here is just giving that user, they're saying, there's 4 ads there, which one do I choose? And you got all these random things like toner seller, buy HP toner, HP toner for sale, only $49.95. Which one are you going to choose? So we did it for that one, and we got a click-through rate of approaching 10%. Having the price in there, once that price was added to the second headline, to overall improve the campaign as a whole. It took a bunch of time to set that up for every single keyword, because there's like 1,000 or more keywords for all the different manufacturers and model numbers of printers and so on and so forth and whatever. But it made sure that the ad stood out to be the best ad every single time in that hyper-competitive market where it needed to be, where it was already a thin margin business, but we made still a lot of money by having that ad customized for every keyword to that level where it wasn't just the keyword in the first headline, but it was kind of regurgitated if we could fit it in the second headline, and the price along with that particular product itself. If they were searching for HP 12 printer toner, the headline would say HP 12 printer toner, and then on the second headline, HP 12 printer toner only $39.95. Whereas none of the other ads had the prices on it, our ad was the default choice. Having the price on the ad, I made a video about how to make your search ads work as good as shopping ads, because in if you don't know, shopping generally, at least short term, is much more profitable than search ads because it spools up to profitability quicker. And the reason why search ads or shopping ads generally work so fast is because you could see what you're getting before you click on the ad, the picture of the product and the price. Well, if you take that same concept and put it on the ad by having the price on there, you made it more like a shopping ad, therefore it has to kind of work better. And if you take the image extension and have the picture of the product and the image extension and make sure the image extension is the picture of the product and you have that image extension unique for each ad group, then the search ad has a picture of the product and the price on it and the headline. It's like a shopping ad now. Okay, so maybe we'll consider that if you're in the e-commerce space. Anyway, moving forward here, if we had a company that sold Amish furniture, it was a specific type of furniture, which I won't say the exact furniture it is that they were selling, wood furniture. Example would be like Amish chairs, but it wasn't chairs here. Basically, we put the keyword in the headline. Then we found out that if we put on the second headline, instead of saying great quality furniture at a low price, whatever generic BS that we had there originally, if we switch that up and we were like, because usually, we get to the part where we're improving the account, we hit a plateau on getting our results to rise. And then you got to think of a new strategy to break out from that certain level or point you're at. Doing customization of the second headline, was the thing to do. That stood out as the most lowest hanging fruit thing to pick out, that's what you're always doing. Out of all these things that Corey said I can do, there's 50 things here. This one makes the most sense for where we're at right now to break out from the area or the point of results that we're getting with our account. You're going to write custom H2 or headline 2s for all your ads. In this particular case, for this Amish furniture company, let's just say Amish chairs, for instance, comes in cherry, oak, walnut, cedar. By saying that, and then that actually lining up with what, once you click through that ad and get to the page, and that was the actual wood types they had, it doubled the click-through rate on top of just having the keyword in the headline. Again, and got the click-through rate up closer to 10% as well in that range. So, respectively, you can think about, maybe there's different options. There's one major route to go with this. If you have different colors, you have clothing, for instance, and you have blue, red, orange, you could say comes in blue, red, orange, or whatever. So if they're typing in nighttime evening gowns, you could have nighttime evening gowns in the keyword or the first headline, and then it could say, on your second headline, it could say, comes in evening gown, comes in black, red, orange, and blue. Obviously, that ad's going to look amazing. One major route that we can go when deciding what formula are we going to use for H2 for this company. So normally what I'm getting to here is there's not one formula that will work for every company, but these are the three major kind of ones that I use, whether it's a local company or national company or e-commerce or just services. I gave you the three examples here. One thing I'll point out here, and again, that customizing the H2, which this isn't the only thing you can do, but these are three good go-tos for getting your click-through rate up another 100% off of what this keyword in the headline itself on the H1 could do for you by itself. As a final note, if you are doing e-commerce and selling products online, this method 2 that I gave you here, sometimes what I gave you here will be superseded by many times by having a specialized discount in the ad. So I gave you 1, 2, 3 ways to do the H2 and customize it to double your click-through rate that normally work. Another way that you could do it for yourself is to have a specialized discount, and it could be for everything. A lot of times we're getting, a double the click-through rate by just having a 25% off everything in store. So if somebody's searching for blue evening dresses, the keyword or the headline will say blue evening dresses, and then the H2 will say 25% off in May only. So there's an end date, so that builds urgency, and we'll double the click-through rate of that ad as is by making the H2 that, and that'll beat, you know, like the formulas that I gave you here. That's the winning one that got the most of the additional increase in click-through rate by customizing the H2. But going further than that, which I don't get the cooperation to do, but if it were my business, if I test that out and it works, I'm going to, and I know because we have done this before, but normally we can't do it because the client, it's too much to ask to the client basically, or they don't want to do it, is to take that discount and make the discount customized for each product type that you have. So when they search for blue evening dresses, the headline can say blue evening dresses, and then the second headline can say dress comes in, or excuse me, 25% off all blue evening dresses in May, or 25% off blue evening dresses, or blue dresses, or whatever. You get my point. Customize what the discount is to the item, so that the headline too, instead of just saying the discount that you get that applies to this product is actually is a discount you can get on all products, by saying this discount is only good for May and it only applies to this exact product category, you'll get an even higher click-through rate. So you could consider doing that as well. But for the most part, you'll get most of the gains though, as I found, just by saying 25% off in May, or 25% off May only, and then that's it. You get most of it without having to say 25% off this item, May only. You technically could say 25% off this item, May only, implying that it's only for this item. That would be a little bit misleading, versus when really the 25% off applies to anything in your store. You could test that out. We don't usually do that. So I can't tell you too much about that specifically, but there's one potential route you could go with it. So that's in general what I'm going to do with my ads. Long story short, I'm going to have an ad for every keyword. I'm going to break my keywords up so that I have the ability to tightly match what people are searching for in reality to the ads that I have for them, so that what they typed in is pretty much exactly what they're going to see on the first headline. And then if I got the time, or when I eventually get to it, my second headline is going to follow up what I just said on the first headline to reinforce that, yes, we actually do have this what you want, and it actually, here's some few extra details about it that I didn't tell you on the first headline. And you'll get even more results. If you like this video, I have a ton of other videos on this channel about other PPC money-making strategies. If you want to learn how to make a lot of money with PPC, I suggest you subscribe to this channel. If you like the video, I would really appreciate you liking the video as well, as it'll help get the video out there for other people who want to improve their ads, which I made this video for. Of course, if you want to learn a little bit more about PPC on a more step-by-step basis, I have also a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog with step-by-step instructions on how to build PPC campaigns on a more one-on-one, step-by-step basis. You may find use of that kind of information for yourself there as well. If you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a day or two time. And with that said, hope to see you on my next video, and